This is sort of off-grid 2.0.
Live normal, but at the same time, be able to flip a switch and go off-grid if you need to.
So you're basically a 12-year-old at this point, Doc. You got forts out here, you're hanging out in your tent.
In old school prepping, it used to be about fear and anxiety. Now it's just you have fun with it and you know you're prepared. This is sort of the brain center. Is it really professional looking? No, but it works. One year we got close to 3,000 pounds of produce.
Oh, you did a great job here. What was the spark, Doc? Why'd you want to do this?
There are physical things we've done out here that I won't talk about.
You got booby traps?
Being an old Marine.
What about your drinking water?
We'll go up here and I'll show you that system. If the house were to burn down, you could actually live over here. 90% of households in this country, after 4 days, 5 days, pretty much start to run out of everything. So that's the hybrid model. Close your gates, be self-sufficient.
Doc, if the grid goes out and everything stops.
We're good. We could probably hang out for at least 2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
So we're gonna get into it today, but this is sort of off-grid 2.0.
Right.
You're not living in a cabin, you're living a modern day life.
Live normal, be on the grid, luxuries, Uber Eats, whatever you want, but at the same time, be able to flip a switch and go off grid if you need to. I'm trying to get away from gas. My chainsaw is electric, the mower's electric, this cart is electric even though I have gas. People think that you have to own 100 acres, but we lived in neighborhoods all of our life, and I've always done this sort of backup hybrid where I've been prepared. My motto is prep and forget. Go live your life and enjoy because you're already prepared. You understand how little you have to survive, basically. Not survive, but to get by.
Doc, one question here.
Yeah.
If someone's invading the property, you get up there?
Our sniper positions.
Your sniper positions?
So I've got 4 of these all through behind the pond. We'll take a run back there and take a look at that area, but we've got 4 of these deer stands up here.
Oh, these are deer stands.
These deer stands.
Okay.
And so every morning during deer season, I wake up at 4:30, and I guess you call it deer hunting. For me, it's more of deer watching. I mean, we only take a couple deer the whole year, but I'll watch thousands come through here. There's Bubba. He was mean to all the girls, so he got kicked out of the chicken house. All these fields up here, it's a hybrid where they're all planted for the wildlife. You can see the feeders up here.
Okay.
And this is all planted for the wildlife, plus the chickens eat it. Plus, if you ever wanted to come out here yourself, that's kale. So if you want to eat kale, you can get kale, you got radish, you got turnip, all these fields in here. And matter of fact, there's a purple top turnip up there that's that big. You can come out here and eat any of this all winter long. And that's one way I think everyone can look at it. It's fun to do. In old school prepping, it used to be about fear and anxiety. Now it's just you have fun with it and you know you're prepared.
Fear's not driving this?
No, not at all. Because I'm done. I have nothing to worry about anymore. This actually is what the roads used to look like in 1855. This is what you traveled down.
How many acres in total?
Total of 40. So as an example, in 1996, Hurricane Fran hit us in Raleigh, where we were living. We were without power for 12 days. I had my daughter lying in front of my big fireplace because trees were falling down all around our neighborhood. We woke up and half the houses in my neighborhood were destroyed. No power for 12 days, and I wasn't prepared. That was sort of the thing to say, we'll call it a gray swan event, where it's a possibility, but you don't take it seriously, you don't plan for it. I've been through 5 different hurricanes. I've been through COVID. I've been through 9/11. I mean, at 63, you've been through enough crap where you just sort of, let's just prepare a little bit.
So this stuff marked you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just good life experience. The guy that used to own this, he had goats out here, and I found that in the woods. I've worked since I was a teenager. I've worked for almost 50 years. And the last thing I want to do is retire into a job that I have to work nonstop. True off-grid living, dude, it's hard. I mean, it's a lot of work.
I've seen a bit more of it actually poking up, where people live in a modern way. They're not like in the middle of nowhere. You're what, 25 minutes from the...
Major towns, major cities. If I want to go to Kroger, it's 25 minutes down the road. Home Depot, Lowe's, it's all around me, medical centers.
Do you think most of us are reactive? You're taking a proactive approach. I'm in the reactive. The grid goes down for 3 days. I mean, I can maybe last a week, I don't know, right?
The average 90% of households in this country, after 4 days, 5 days, they pretty much start to run out of everything. And what's interesting about that is we don't learn. So we went through COVID and we don't learn to prepare. And people can just do a little bit of preparation work and have 7 to 14 days. That's all you need, really, in most cases. When we bought this, you couldn't see the pond. We took out about 20 trees here. Trees destroy your pond berm. We had to take that down, rebuild that. And then this is just, we've stocked it twice. It was just sort of a recreational little fishing thing.
You're catching fish out of here.
Oh yeah, I've caught 9-pound bass out of here.
So house we're gonna go into at the end,
Okay.
but you redid this completely, right?
Right. To keep it family friendly, I called it the crap hole because it was just a piece of crap.
Okay.
It was abandoned for over a year and a half. The guy actually who was in poor health actually died from COVID, and the family put it on the market. And thank goodness this place was a disaster. You can maybe put up a picture of what it looked like or whatever. It was just junk. There was junk all through here. I mean, there was just junk. It took a year just to clean everything off of here. Now, I wanted to put a little sort of guest cabin over here. So if my brother wants to come up and deer hunt for a week, or worst case scenario, if the house were to burn down, you could actually live over here while you took care of your house.
You're married, Doc, right?
Yeah, older kids, they're gone, grandkids. When this got dropped in here, there was nothing but spray foam and 2x4s on the inside.
Okay.
Okay, and then we redid the whole thing. Security lock on every door I own.
Ah, you did a great job.
We got an air conditioning, microwave, refrigerator. Look at the view.
The view is your artwork, let's call it, the solar
Yeah.
panels.
And then this, like, 1840 table. Look at the nails in it are all square.
It's a great fusion of rustic but modern.
And that's kind of, I want luxury and I want nice, but at the same time, give me a little bit of
You want
rustic.
these old floors.
Right.
What are these?
They're old spikes from plows. I just found them, I just loved them, and I started buying them, and they just make the coolest little accents.
They are cool.
This is sort of the brain center. We don't really have a good storage space
Of the whole operation.
of the power station. This is the power station brain center here.
So this is your solar coming into here.
Solar comes into this battery system. This is the latest and greatest DPU-X from EcoFlow. I think it's better for most people is it's portable. So if you ever move, if you ever sell your house, you just load this up and take it with you. This is 12,000 watts, 6,000 watt hours per battery. That's 60,000 watt hours of storage. And then this drives 12,000 watts over to the house. I have a 2224 huge electric cable that runs underground back over to the house.
Okay.
And I'll show you the switch over there, but
This actually I don't understand this world at all. It looks quite simple.
it's very simple. And that's why this is where more and more people are going to this system versus, you can do a DIY solar system with your inverters and your batteries and your wiring, probably for maybe a half the price of this, or not half, but the simplicity of this. You put it together, you can start with
just
2
stack it
batteries.
up. Okay.
Just do 2 batteries.
Yep.
Just do 2 batteries, it's on wheels, and plug it in, you back up to your house. I'll show you over here. I have a $100 battery system with a little solar panel. If you want to go this with the solar panels, you're gonna dump $35,000 into it.
For all of this
All this and that.
and the panels?
Yep. With this system, because it's modular, you can start off with the main head and 2 batteries. You can start off, I think it's about 7,000 for 2 batteries. And then you just keep adding batteries and you bump it up. Solar panels really are not that expensive, to be honest.
I thought it would be so much
Yeah,
more.
people think it's gonna be $80,000 to $100,000, and that's when you have a company come out, they do all that stuff, they do the installation.
You did this.
Right.
Okay.
Matter of fact, if you come back over here, you can see we didn't spend a whole bunch of money on the solar racks over here.
That's pretty straightforward.
Yep, it's 4x4 system with these things are cheap, and it's just
And they don't have to be straight. They can be on a slope like this.
be on a slope, and they're not perfect. They're a little bit not aligned, but Jesse, my guy, and I came over here and did this in 2 days, and put up the panels and wired it up. And is it really professional looking? No, but it works. When it comes to water, we have multiple sources. So the pond is actually spring fed from over here. This is the original shallow well from the house that served the house for 30 years. You can't really see it right now because it's covered with insulation, but it's just a 30-inch wide by 30 feet deep.
That's all you have to go down here, 30 feet.
Almost all your shallow wells are done this way. The problem with shallow wells is they pick up everything that's bad from around here. Okay. And they have a tendency to really have a lot of bacteria. I run my irrigation systems off of it in my hose now. We don't use it for the house at all.
What about your drinking water?
We'll go up here and I'll show you that system. This is where you better have a checkbook ready because the septic system back here was actually concrete, the tubes.
Okay.
We had to put in a brand new septic system. Okay, now you're dropping 15 grand on a new septic system in Leachfield. You need a well. Well, you got to drill down for a deep well for clean water. You got to drill 600 feet. You got 600 feet. Your new well is going to pop you 20 grand.
That's clean water, no filtration.
You can literally drink it. It smells like rock. It has kind of a sulfur rock because it's coming through like the granite.
Okay.
But it's super, super clean water. Now what I do, it gets a little bit confusing here, but inside here I have a multi-stage filtration system. So.
Do you have a homeless guy living here? What's going on?
That is that's the pressure tank, okay. And I keep for freezing. I just keep it, and it keeps it cold in the summertime, keeps the water cold and warm in the winter. But the well comes up here, it goes through a pre-filter, then it goes through a carbonized filter, then it goes to a post-filter, and then it goes to this UV filter, and the UV kills any kind of thing that's living, like viruses or whatever. Then it goes to the house.
Is it stripping it of all its minerals? Or do you still have minerals in your water?
No, it's still very mineral. Matter of fact, that's one of the problems with wells like this, is you pull up a whole bunch of calcium, and so you have to constantly clean your shower because you have those hard water spots.
So this, you said, was 20 G to put this in?
You're dropping 20 G in any well out here that's about 500-600 feet, because that's just...
So yeah, I wasn't even thinking of water.
Most people don't because they're on city water. Exactly.
So you're purely on your own well?
Yes.
How do you know that's going to be good 5-10 years out?
Because what we did is we put in a backup well. So behind
Of course you did.
See that little yellow shack in between the container and whatever?
Yeah.
That's another 600-foot well. So I had them drill a backup well because here's the problem. People don't understand. If this goes bad, I may be a month without it trying to get a guy out here to come and fix this thing.
Okay, so rookie question, Doc. You have a well here, you have a well not far away. Isn't it pulling from pretty much the same place?
No, because when you go through, it's basically you're drilling through cracks in the rock.
Okay.
And you get different water rates. It's weird how it works. It's basically you're pulling from different cracks. So if this one, main thing is what happens if this pump fails and you're a week without water because the guy can't come out and pull it and fix it. All I have to do now is there's a switch in here. I flip the switch and that well actually feeds all the way down here to this. And now that well feeds the house through that system. You can do something like this very reasonable if you just buy a few acres and you just keep it pretty modest. Yes, I spent a lot of money, but my wife and I live very modestly. I can tell you how many times we've been out to eat in the past 10 years, probably on two hands.
Seriously?
We don't go out to eat, we don't travel, we don't drink, we don't do drugs.
No date nights?
No, we're very much homebodies, and I worked, gosh, the past 10 years, I worked 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day.
What were you in?
Just whatever. I was an entrepreneur my whole life.
Okay.
So I've always been an entrepreneur. Ups and downs, that's part of the experience of getting your butt whipped. Losing everything and having to rebuild, lose everything, having to rebuild. It's that life experience. It's the same thing, going through hurricanes, going through COVID. Unfortunately, we're in a society that doesn't learn a whole lot. We don't learn from the past lessons. We forget very easily.
You come to tell me we're not having the conversations about COVID and like what we could do different next time?
Yeah.
Those aren't really creeping up in society so much? Let's forget it, right?
Yeah, mentality. It's over. Forget about it.
But I think that's just a way of the mind wanting to like get rid of anything that's negative, purge the negative, move forward, be optimistic about tomorrow. And you need to have a balance of that, right? Because you don't want to constantly be in this prepper state Because then you're like waiting for the apocalypse.
Yes, you're walking around with an AR, bulletproof vest, and camouflage, and that's old school prepping. There was a show on, it's called Doomsday Preppers that used to be on like Discovery or something.
Yeah.
That is gone, where this is what it is. You prep and forget.
Okay, one thing about the prepper, like the true preppers, whenever I've come into them or seen them on videos, they don't look that happy. It doesn't look like that much fun, worried. Right? and I do feel too, if you're the prepped guy, you're doing the bunker in New Zealand or wherever, some of the oligarchs are doing that, right? It's like almost you're a target because your security eventually is gonna have more fealty towards their family.
Right.
Right? And you're like, that's the guy with resources, and everyone goes for that guy.
And I guess you could take it to whatever level of prep you want. So if you're talking about hurricanes and thunderstorms and something like a COVID, you're not going to have people coming out here hunting for your food type deal. If you're talking about like an EMP or a solar flare, grid down on large scale, that's when you got to worry about it. There are physical things we've done out here that I won't talk about.
You got booby traps?
No, not booby traps. But being an old Marine, you know, I sort of look at this strategically, and if you'll notice, you can't access my house without an open area in between. So I can see.
You thought this out?
Yeah, we opened up the area all in between just so I could have clear view of what's coming, and just to open it up too for, you know, sunlight and everything else and trees falling on the house. But it's just something that you just think about is you got 80 yards worth of open area all around.
So you were in the Marines?
Yes.
So you have the skills?
Yes. And
you know how to fire a gun?
Oh, if you're up in that field and you're trying to hurt me or my family, it doesn't matter how far away you are.
What kind of arsenal do you have, Doc?
I'll take you up and show you a couple of them. Out here, everyone has sort of the same thing. We have handguns, we have hunting rifles, and then we usually have like plinking rifles, like ARs or something. I'll show you that. But like in my cart right now, everywhere I go, there's a 9mm within 10 feet of me.
Seriously?
If it's not on my hip. Yeah, there's one right in there, right there.
Are you like worried or something?
No. I had 2 coyotes up in my field. If it's up here and they're trying to get into my chicken house, that's
I got
the main
you.
thing.
Don't mess with the chickens. All right, guys, I want to talk to you about something happening behind the scenes to all of us. Our personal data gets hoovered up by data brokers and sold all across the internet. So earlier this year, I found a solution to this problem, Incogni. Incogni is a personal information removal service that wipes yourself from the internet. So we have the right to remove ourselves from these lists. But to try to do this one by one would be a full-time job. I started using Incogni in February, and I've seen exceptional results. Here's my dashboard where I've been removed from 1,448 data brokers. And you can see here all of the data brokers that have tried to poach my personal information. For me, I currently have 237 that are being removed. So what you need to do is sign up to Incogni, and they'll do the consistent, constant, in the background work of removing you from these websites. So I've received way less spam emails, spam calls, junk mail, which removes one of life's biggest annoyances. And since this is a game like whack-a-mole, you can't just do this once and be done. It's a constant process, and that's why having Incogni working 24/7, 365 in the background is crucial. I strongly suggest getting Incogni's unlimited plan, which gives the option to request custom removals from any website. There's a huge discount if you use my link down below in the description to get 60% off an annual plan. Take back your personal data with Incogni. Click on the link below, incogni.com/Santenello to get 60% off their annual plan. Now back to the story.
Kind of dark in here, but this is at least a whole winter's worth, if not 1.5 winters worth of firewood. I have all my chicken feed, corn for the deer.
So you're doing wood heat?
Just supplemental. I have a 5-ton Trane heat pump, but my wife always complains because she's hot, so I get near the wood stove. You'll see my Vermont casting stove. I'll have it going, and
yeah, I grew up in Vermont, so that wood would last you like
a couple weeks.
A couple weeks.
So here on the barn, there's solar panels up here we just put on.
Is this good here, Doc?
Yeah. So we just put those up, and they're not that strong. They're old ones I had. Here's a good example. Here's a backup battery system. kind of like that one. If you just get this one, $1,600.
That's it.
That's it, $1,600. That puts off 6,000 watts. So this whole place is, if I want to, I could just off-grid this whole place.
And you've mentioned you make videos, and I want to let the audience know, Doc is also a YouTuber, has quite a collection of videos, from this type of stuff to lawn care.
Gardening, you name it, how to.
Ultimate polymath, Doc does everything, Renaissance man. I'm gonna leave Hit Doc's link down below.
What's a really...
You guys have a twisted relationship, huh?
He's so weird. Now, I did something really cool that I think your viewers will actually find interesting. AI is eventually going to kill us, but at the same time, you need to get into it, you need to use it, because especially if you want to do this kind of prepping stuff, you can take a picture of your solar panel label and ask AI, say, how do I hook this up? How do I hook this up? And what are the voltage requirements? It's an amazing tool for if you want to be prepared or do that kind of stuff. Bubba, what are you doing, buddy?
Bubba's sort of like a dog for you,
He's just like a dog, man. He just follows me around. And
Does Bubba peck?
he doesn't like to be touched, but when he goes like this, he'll lean up against you like a dog.
Okay, say, Doc, you're worried about AI. You think it's going to ruin us completely?
Oh, it is going to ruin us completely eventually, but in the meantime, it's one of the greatest tools you can use. So here's what I did.
So we have a nice window is what you're saying?
Yeah. So what I did was I built a page on my website. And what people can do, I just posted a video. They go there. If you go put your street, your city and state, the AI agent on there will do an evaluation of your area, and it will tell you what are the threats, what's your problem when the grid goes down on day, and it'll describe what happens day 1 through 3, day 7, day 15, and day 30. And it gives people a view what would happen if the supply chain and grid went down. It's actually a really cool little tool.
In a city, 72 hours, pure chaos, right?
Yes. 3 or 4 days, if you're in a city, you need to figure a way to get out. This wasn't here, obviously. The guys that put this building up in 6 hours.
Were they Amish?
No, they were Mexican. Close enough.
6 hours they put this up.
6 hours they did
It's just
this
like
building.
a kit barn or something?
They spec it out, they build it at the factory, they bring it out and put it in. It was crazy.
What's the price of a barn like this?
This thing will run you about $8,000. The foundation costs just as much when you have a cement thing poured. So you got about $8,000 in your cement, $8,000 in the building, but as you can see, desperately needed. This automatically cuts into the ground and seeds the corn. So we do use this for corn planting.
Do you think like 20 years out, hopefully you're in great shape then, but when you can no longer do this stuff?
That's the whole point of this is, I don't think my kids want this place. They're not willing to work hard enough to maintain it. So I'll eventually, when I decide, I get to a point where I say, hey, I can't do this anymore, then what I'll do is we'll probably just end up selling the place. So, but no, I don't think the kids would actually want to come out here and work.
What do they think of that? What do family members, old friends, do they think Doc lost his mind a little bit? Or?
Oh no, because actually my son, after he graduated from college, spent a year out here helping me. He took a year off. Everybody that comes out here loves it. Grandkids will come out, they'll feed the chickens, and I get 32 eggs a day right now, and it'll probably go up from there.
32 a day?
A day.
How many are you eating?
Just a handful. I give away the rest. I give away dozens and dozens of eggs to all my neighbors and everyone. This is my scratch grain that they eat.
Okay.
These are the black fly larvae. And then they have chicken crumbles.
The larva is really good with nutrients, or what's
protein, calcium, basically supplements where they would normally be digging up worms. It's also important, I think, to have greens. Since I can't free range out here because of predators, I'll come out here and I'll pick, maybe we'll do it a little bit later, I'll pick some turnips and radishes. If I throw them in here, it's like piranhas. They just come attack them. They just absolutely love them. You can see some of the old root stuff in here where they've been eating them. I grabbed a video clip, maybe wifey can put it up since she's your head editor, of it shows like the tomatoes out here, all the tomatoes.
Okay.
We had 1,000 tomatoes that we harvested from the vines. This garden, when it was all here, one year we got close to 3,000 pounds of produce out of this one garden. And that's everything from zucchinis to cucumbers to tomatoes to peppers. I had pepper plants out here. I know I had 250 red and green peppers at one point. We'll just show the food area, but you can see that's not that much of an area. So if someone had maybe half an acre at the old house where we were, I had a huge amount of produce and we only had half an acre. So people can put in a garden in their backyard.
What's the minimal amount you need to be somewhat this off-grid, be on solar, let's just say grow your own food, your vegetables, your chickens at least?
There's a guy, there's a YouTuber online, and I think they do it on they grow tons of produce and they're on like 2 acres.
So you think
2 acres.
2 acres would be the good bare minimum?
If you do nothing but grass, obviously, and have a little garden, then it's not going to work. But if you decide to actually take a big portion of that yard and do, it doesn't take much.
What's 2 acres in this part of Georgia?
It depends. Right now, housing and land is so screwed up, but you could probably go a little more rural and probably pick it up for probably 10 an acre, 10,000 an acre.
Okay, so 20 grand. What do you think? You set up a small home. I mean, these are all rough numbers, but let's set a minimalistic setup. Your home is 1,500 square feet. Simple, straightforward, the whole shebang. What do you think that would cost?
God, what an impossible number to come up with. I'll tell you what I prefer to do. What I prefer to do is to find an old house, just like I did. Find a piece of crap house that has the infrastructure, so you don't have to pay for power lines to be run. That's real expensive. You don't have to pay for your septic. That's already in. Your well's already in. You just need to go in and fix up the house. That's the ideal situation.
But you got to be a do-it-yourselfer. You got to be doing some of the work on that.
But I didn't do that. I hired a great contractor to do that whole house.
And when you say that's going to be a bit confusing because we haven't talked about it, but you're on solar, but you're also tapped into the grid.
Yeah.
That's your setup because during normal times,
we just live a normal life.
It's just easier to do it that way. Yeah. Why not go off your solar completely?
I don't know. I mean, it's just, I don't have to worry about it. A lot of times when you do have a solar system, you do have to sort of think a little bit because you don't want to run... You don't want to be running your dryer and your dishwasher and the oven all at the same time. You've got to be doing that during the day when there's solar, really. That's when you want. So I just don't want to think about that. So, and my power out here is not that expensive. The whole place, I pay about $300 a month. So for me, it's a backup. I've got a back loop here. This is the back 20 acres of my property that's pretty secluded. I pretty much every day during deer season, it's kind of my retirement religion. I get up in the deer stand and I'm not really deer hunting, I'm deer watching. And I just enjoy a couple of hours by myself up in one of these stands.
So you're basically a 12-year-old at this point, Doc.
Yeah.
You got forts out here, you're hanging out in your tent.
That's probably 30 years old, that little deer stand or something.
So you just stand up there?
That's the way they used to hunt. No, that's been here. What we built, we call them our redneck skyscrapers. Oh, that door is open. I gotta go close that door, otherwise it'll rot. Gotta clean up all the trash.
What is this?
Doe pee.
Can I check it out up there, Doc?
Yeah, sure.
Let me have you hold the camera right here. Okay, so.
Let's see how athletic he is.
You just go up here, Doc.
There's some handles to get up in there, so be careful.
And then you're just sitting up here.
Yep, you would turn around and you'd look out the back over there, and that's where you're watching.
Oh, let me see. I'll bring the camera up. Okay.
Careful.
So, Doc's saying, you sit up here. That's nice chair, Doc. Quite comfortable chair. And you just look for wildlife.
I'll see thousands of deer every year, thousands. We may take 2 or 3 deer, and they're always bucks. We don't take any of the does.
And you eat it?
Yeah, I have probably 200 pounds of venison in the freezer in that shed.
What are property taxes like in Georgia? Like to have 100 acres, is that a super expensive thing to do every year? Or?
No, property tax really isn't that bad here. I need to fix that feeder. Why is this thing so tipped?
Because if you're in a high property tax state, just to exist out here, even if you have no debt, is going to cost a lot every year.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people don't understand. Just because you live off grid, your expenses don't stop. I mean, did you pay cash for your land or do you have a mortgage? You have taxes, you have insurance. You want to have insurance on your place? The expenses don't stop, and that's one of the things I think a lot of people miss with the off-grid lifestyle is you still got to have money. You want a well? Where's that 20 grand going to come from? You want a tractor? That tractor is $30,000. Where's that money going to come from?
You would not have been able to do this at 25 years old.
No.
It took you working your life to get to this point.
To get to this point. Now, what people can do is they can sort of say they can pull this little pieces out, but again, when we lived in the neighborhood, we still did preparation. We still did some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But here, this is completely different. This takes a checkbook.
You have your cameras.
So I have artificial intelligence that do automatic tracking and tell you what is coming across. Those artificial intelligence cameras will tell you if it's a vehicle, person, or an animal. Those are positioned at my gates and all around the property. These are cellular game cameras all throughout the woods, so I can monitor if there's any predators, but mainly for deer movement. But if someone comes through my property in the woods, it'll send me a picture. Matter of fact, I'll get pictures of us riding on our cart.
Do you mind me asking how much you got this whole place for?
So the entire property was right at 400.
Wow, what year?
4 years ago.
For the whole place.
The whole place.
But it didn't look like this.
It was a hellhole. It was a hellhole.
But just that amount of land is amazing.
Yeah, and especially this close to a town where you're not isolated,
Yeah.
So here the best way to describe this, I think, is just country comfortable.
Okay.
I didn't want to have to take off my boots when I came in here. You go from a field, you go from hunting, whatever, you didn't want to walk into a luxury. It's nice, but at the same time, it's country comfortable, very open. These beams are probably one of my favorite. We put a mile of shiplap on all the ceilings, but these beams, these came from a tobacco barn, 1797, and this is exactly how they came out of the barn, just like this. And we put them up just to use them all the seams, and I've got them all over there. They're great.
Oh, you did a great job here. This is beautiful.
Kitchen area.
You're always near one, as you said earlier.
I'm always near one. I'm always within arm's reach of something. But that's just the old, because I was in the Marine Corps, but I was also criminal investigations and did a lot of drug work. So I always have something on me. This is, I guess now you have to call it the primary, not the master. This was that old nasty garage. And then in here, we put this in. This is sort of the bath, the master bath. But it's not, it's not opulent. It's just nice.
And that's wifey's corner? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, that's all wifey stuff. I have my own.
You're not allowed. There's an alarm that goes off when you walk.
I'm not allowed in there. And it's funny because upstairs, I have my office and there's a guest bedroom. During hunting season, I'll sleep up there half the time because I wake up at 4:30 and she and the dogs are like, So I'll go sleep upstairs, and so I don't wake them up at 4:30 in the morning. This was a bathroom, and so we didn't have a place for a pantry, so we put a
you don't have any
in.
huge rations of food?
Not here.
But on the property somewhere?
On the property.
Okay.
Yep.
And you're saying 2 years?
Oh yeah, easy. This was disgusting up here. There was so much crap up here. These are some of my photography, by the way.
Oh, beautiful.
This is where the magic happens.
What are these guns here?
These are both just AR frames. This one, believe it or not, a lot of people say, oh, it's a military. I actually hunt with this gun over here sometimes too. It's just a little plinking gun. And this is actually, this is, in our area, most people have a plinker, a long bolt gun that's for deer hunting and handguns. It's just normal. Now, all these deer came from this property here.
Georgia is a pro-gun friendly state, right?
You can't go to a property here and not have people own guns. Now, the mistake that some people make, I know people that buy guns and guns and guns and guns and guns. That's not me. I just have what I use. and they put too much money into their guns, and there's no other infrastructure around. Huge mistake.
You have the infrastructure.
I have the infrastructure.
And a lot you can't talk about, you said.
Right. Oh, I won't talk about, yeah. But
So do you think that helps with home invasions? When you're in a place like this, rural Georgia, everyone knows everyone has guns.
Yes.
Like, does it make you think twice before you break into someone's
if you
home?
go to my gate, one of the reasons why my wife was like, oh, we need to do something fancier on that. I said, I want to make it look like a redneck with a gun lives at the end of this driveway. And if you come down this driveway 900 feet.
But you sort of are, Doc.
Yeah.
You have a
Embrace
redneck ethos.
Embrace it. So the whole point is people do not pull down my driveway because they know in this area, if you come down this driveway, there's going to be someone with a gun at the end of it. Now, that's true for all my neighbors. I mean,
So you'd say property crime is low here?
I'll tell you this, my wallet and my keys have never left my truck, and my truck's never locked.
This is where Doc runs his
That's the magic
operation.
happens.
The magic happens looking out at the pond, saying, I got to finish up on this project, and then I'm going fishing.
And at least twice a day I go fishing, just to relax. But a lot of people ask, here's a good example. A lot of people ask, they say, hey, you got such a nice house, why do you have window units? If you've ever been in a hurricane with a power outage, and you want to run, you can actually shut off all your HVAC, close your bedroom door, have it freezing cold, and this thing only pulls 700 watts.
Okay, so you can compartmentalize in a
Yes,
home, right?
absolutely.
When these catastrophes happen.
Absolutely.
So you could just move it to your office if you had to.
Yep.
And here's a guest bedroom.
Guest bedroom, another bath. So we got 2 full baths up here. Stay to the right because it's a little bit, I can't believe the inspector allowed these stairs, by the way. We were allowed to keep them, but because they don't really meet code. What we can do, we'll actually take the property off grid. Let's go out here first. Let me show you how this works. Big battery bank over here, big underground cable comes in over here. This is an A/B switch. So I am on the grid, so it's off. If I go down, I'm on the battery system. If I go up, try to stick your camera in there, then I go on my generator. So this is a generator that'll run the whole house if I want to go gas generator.
So you can go solar, gas, or on grid.
Yep. And
You have 3 ways.
Yeah. So and the other thing
So
is,
that's in case the solar doesn't work?
something happens maybe, or the nice thing about this is this power goes into the house, which goes back over there so I can charge my batteries while this is running. So if I have like a snowstorm or whatever, it's going. But so right now we're on gas generator, we're off. I'm gonna hook up the EcoFlow system and then we'll go in and we'll just throw it online. I've got everything running. I've got the fountains running, the aerators, all the lights, everything on.
This is sort of your moment, right, Doc? When you flip that switch and you're like, all my work.
Well, we had 40 or 50 mile an hour winds out here. 2 years ago, we had a thunderstorm come through and we lost 21 trees. We couldn't even get out. We lost power for 2 days. And we did not have this system in place. We just had a generator. So we're hooked up in here now. And so all I got to do is come in here and this is the setup that this is called an interlock switch. And this is what you have when you have a generator. You have to kill the main power, and then you can turn this over, and then you can turn your generator on. So the reason why you do this is if you're throwing power back to the grid and the lineman comes to work on it, you'll end up killing them. So that's why you have to have this by code. This shuts off the main. We're off. So now, this is my app that controls that. And the one thing I forgot to do is I forgot to turn the AC power on. So that's why when I switched it over. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the AC power on. So it's communicating to that system over there. And what it'll do now is it'll show me how much power is being taken out plus how much is being fed in by the solar panels. So right now in the solar panels, I have about 2,400 watts going in. And what's the wattage coming out? About 2,300 watts being used by the house. So we're all completely off grid. Without even the solar, that system will run this house for 2 full days. Or more.
Off the battery power.
Just off the battery. And if you're conservative, which is, in my videos, I talk about something called a miser mode. turn off your hot water heater, turn off your AC, turn off the big stuff. Wi-Fi, lights, little basic stuff. You can run probably 4 days off that battery.
Why are you making videos on this topic, Doc?
I've done it for years. I've always sort of touched on it, but now I do a lot of testing. I have different levels of it, like the $1,600, the $100, $1,600, $35.
Right. On your channel, I've talked more about the lifestyle. On your channel, you go very granular on the technicality of things.
We start
so for someone wanting to do this,
right,
they would go to your channel.
Right, and pick up some of the videos.
Yeah.
And it's not like I don't try and be an expert on it. I sort of show you what I'm living with and what I've learned.
I'm sure a lot of trial and error.
Yes, huge amount. If you want to be great at something, screw it up a whole bunch of times.
Okay, Doc. So most people are not going to be able to do this. A, not have the money. B, not have the time. C, not have the skills. They're not super handy. It's going to be a ton of work they don't want to do. But you're saying almost everyone can have some preparation.
Everyone.
And this is your kit.
If I was king for a day, I would mandate that everyone had 7 days. Down at the beach house, I have one of these containers and a small generator.
Beach house in Georgia.
Yes.
Okay.
I have one of these containers and a small generator, and that's it. So if we have a hurricane, I have one of these. Now, these get heavy, so I recommend you get one of these totes with wheels.
So this is 7 days.
Actually, 14, really, you could do.
Now I'm highly interested, because I'm not going to do what you've done today. I'm out there making videos, busy, don't have time for any of this stuff.
Everyone should do this.
Okay.
And this, I didn't load it up with 14 days worth of stuff. I just loaded up with examples of stuff that you can do. This is just simple stuff. You go to you go to Walmart, Costco, whatever. And see, the mistake people make is they think that you got to buy in bulk and then you got to vacuum seal. You got to use oxygen packets. And it's just not true. You can buy, I actually prefer to buy small stuff like little bags of rice, little bags of pasta, little things, and it'll last for years. People think that it doesn't, but it does. So as an example, I'm gonna start throwing some stuff out at you.
Okay, what's this?
Emergency radio. You can crank it, put it in solar. This is the most amazing little thing that you'll ever see. That little stove runs off gasoline. So you take gasoline, you have a can of gasoline in the house, everyone does, that you can actually cook on that, besides your gas grill or whatever.
Okay, you're in an apartment, you don't have gasoline kicking around.
Then
propane, go propane?
Yeah, you can
canisters.
have propane. This is that little $100 backup system I talked about right there. So this is, you could plug in a laptop, you got USB charging, it actually has flashlights on as well too, but it also comes with a solar panel. You open up the solar panel, you charge this with the sun.
Okay.
Really cool. Most amazing product ever.
What, wipes?
Dude wipes instead of toilet paper.
You don't like toilet paper?
Dude, once you try these, you'll never go back, trust me.
So the dude wipes are high on the list.
Oh,
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. This is a little water purification thing. So you can actually take pond water, run it through this system, and it'll remove 99% of everything, including microbes and all that kind of stuff. People don't think about lighters. If you need a lighter, people sometimes don't have lighters. I don't smoke, so you gotta have a lighter in here. One of the biggest things during Hurricane Helene was this: cash. All the stores are down, the Wi-Fi's down. Sorry, it's cash only. There's a guy named Jeff Gray on YouTube, and I've actually talked to him and stole some of his video. He was in line at a store and people were crying because they couldn't buy what they needed because it was cash only. They didn't have cash. 5s, 10s, and 20s. Get a bag of it, stick it in here.
How much cash? More the better, obviously, but...
Yeah, 100, 200 bucks. Maybe just throw it in here and just forget about it.
Okay.
Just don't worry about it.
Plastic bag,
cash is absolutely critical. Here's where you can have fun with this if you have kids. Have the kids participate. Say, this is going to be one of our insurance boxes. If we have a bad storm and the power goes out, you guys get to pick what you want, so you can put something in here. The kids get excited about it. So anytime, trust me, if you have kids and a storm comes up, they'll be like, can we get the box out? Can we get the box out? Because, you're going to have, especially with young kids, coloring books and crayons. So, you can't touch this unless the power goes out or whatever. So you take a bad situation, a hurricane, power loss or whatever, and the kids get excited about it because they know they're prepared. Plus they feel a little secure, which is kind of nice.
Okay, food.
Okay.
Quaker Oats.
I can't live without coffee.
Coffee. And you bag it all up.
Some of it, like Bisquick. Bisquick has a shelf life instead of flour. Bisquick in the box has a shelf life of 1.5 years. If you take it out and shrink wrap it, you're about 4 years.
Not the healthiest, but it's gonna survive.
If you need to cook, if you want to cook something.
Okay.
Crunchy granola bars, if you shrink wrap it like this, I'm telling you, 5 years down the road, you can pull that out and eat it. Here's a perfect example. Instead of buying 50-pound bags of rice, these are already in plastic. Same thing with pasta. You can get pasta that's in plastic. We did a test. We put this in a cabinet for 4 years, pulled it out and ate it just like this, and it was perfect 4 years later. People think you have to do special preparations. You really don't. Buy it in plastic, put it in a plastic bag. But there's just all kinds of stuff in here that's just...
Okay, so just have enough food rations. We're talking 2 weeks if you have this filled right.
2 weeks is all sitting right here. And
What about water?
Water, you're going to have to do that separately.
You got your pump, but...
Yeah, you're going to have some kind of... They make something called a water bob, which fills the bathtub.
Okay.
There's all kinds of stuff.
Then you get a bunch of canned stuff in there.
And you got oils. And then my favorite, I love Wendy's chili. But you take rice, throw some beef stew on the rice or on the pasta, chili, put it on the rice and pasta. Simple stuff, you know. One of the things I like to tell people is, first, understand the difference between a black swan and a gray swan. A black swan is something like 9/11 and COVID. It's something that you didn't think would happen, something you're not prepared for, something that just catches you by surprise. A gray swan is something that everyone knows could happen, but you sort of blow it off because you don't think it's really going to happen. And that's more of like the economy, housing collapse, whatever. And a perfect example, and I'll use this, I like to use this as an example. In 1855, that right there was worth 20 bucks. If you adjust it for inflation, it's worth $720 today. Mm-hmm. If you have to buy this right now because of the economy and money printing and national debt, you pay $5,400 for that. That's just, so you wonder why people worry about little things like the economy and debt. And what I tell people is, make a list, what you worry about, what are things that keep you up at night, and then do some preparation for it. And what I tell people is that, okay, almost everyone has homeowners insurance. On a scale of 1 to 100, what chance over the next 12 months do you think your house is going to burn down? Almost everyone's going to say a 1 or a 2. You know, it's just not even. It's just not even a 1 or a 2. Okay. Well, what chance do you think that we're going to have some type of something happen in our country, whether it's a COVID style, whether it's a homeland security attack? What percentage do you think? So you'll have homeowners insurance and you'll have car insurance at maybe a 1 or a 2, but then you'll ask people to say, what do you think that there's a percentage that the economy will collapse or the power grid will go down because of A? And they'll say, oh man, there's a good 10, 20%, but they don't do anything about it.
It's because it's not mandated, right?
It's half of it's not mandated, and it's that gray swan sort of stuff where we know that it's there, but we just sort of don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay, with the kit you showed in the house, is there a link? You don't sell that kit, right? It's just basic stuff you get at the store.
I've done a couple videos on it, and matter of fact, what I'll do is, I'll probably go ahead and do a video showing more detail.
That'd be great. That would be great. So by the time we get this out,
yeah,
if that video is there, that'd be great, because I'd like to watch. I'm actually, after this, I'm on the high of it, and then I'll get back to normal life and busy and try to, sort of forget about it.
Uber Eats.
Right? But I'm gonna make a point, Doc, to do something like that.
Do it. Everyone should have it. And what I'll do is I'll do a breakdown video next week.
Awesome.
And then I'll actually show specifically where you can get that stuff.
If you get that done before I post this, I'll make sure, guys, it will be at the end here.
Do a little
something
link
to click
in the
on.
description.
Yeah, so Doc, that was awesome. Anything else you want to say, though? Is there anything else you missed?
I could go on for 2 more hours, but I'll ruin your channel.
Let's go out here. No, you've done nothing but good for it. I love this stuff.
But
I find the alternative living stuff fantastic.
But you'll notice, I think the biggest message for me is, you can call me a prepper, I don't care, but the prepping mentality of the old age is gone. This is, I'm comfortable. I don't worry about anything. If this were to happen, I don't care. If that were to happen, I don't care. I'm just prepared. I've taken that worry away. Take your worries away by just doing a little bit of something, and now I go hunt, I go fish, I travel, go to the beach, do whatever.
And again, a lot of people will watch this online and say, oh, look at you're wealthy, you can do this. And look, you have a lot, and you've worked your whole life for this. You didn't do this at 33,
You can do it at any level.
But you can just step at a small level.
You can do one of those boxes in there for a couple $100.
And to be fair, most people don't want to do what it takes. Even to have the hybrid style that you have, it's a lot.
It's a lot of work.
And you have to really love it and prioritize it. And you're retired.
I always get, you always get the haters on YouTube, and they're like, if I had your money, I said, well, dude, work 50 years, 7 days a week, and you might have it. And it's funny, I just watched a YouTube video online, Sotheby's auction. I just watched a painting sell for a record of $205 million for one painting. And I'm like, dude, if I had his money, everyone says, if I had their money.
So all in, what you have here, you could probably do it for $1 million.
Oh yeah, much less.
Much less.
Yeah, yeah. Depending on the land that you buy and how extreme. We spent a bunch of money on the renovation that we probably didn't have to spend.
Okay.
If you pick up the right property, you could literally go hybrid. Probably, I would say, comfortably $50,000 to $75,000 on top of whatever the property cost. You could actually go to sort of a hybrid like this.
50 to 75.
Yeah, it's not that much to do.
Okay.
Because you can do real reasonable. Nowadays, there's a price war going on with all this this battery stuff. The price wars have hit, and they're starting to really get competitive now.
Great stuff, Doc. Appreciate it. I love this stuff. Guys, I want you to go to Doc's channel. I'm gonna leave it up around here. Check out my other Georgia videos. It's been a short series.
That'll be interesting.
3 different videos in Georgia. New territory for me. Fascinating state. And thanks for coming along, guys. Until the next one.